Yes, Ustad. Please, let's begin, inshallah. I have just started the recording as well.
Just as the point as a point now, it seems because of the prayer timings in Jeddah, by the
Mhm.
time that we finish Maghrib and I get home, I think from next lesson it'll be better to delay 15 minutes. So rather than starting at 6:30 or or as a planned start, we could start at 6:45. Would that be
Mhm.
okay? And does that suit the prayer time where you're at? Because I know that there was a clash with prayers where you were as well. Would
Yeah, no,
6:45 be suitable?
that should be fine. That should be fine. In fact, that would be good. Good for even the brothers in the UAE. What time is Isha Jamaat in Jeddah?
The adhan is at 7:35 now.
All right. Okay. I think we get good time. We get a good 40-45 minutes comfortably. Inshallah.
Yeah, we can exactly. That's right.
All right. Okay. No problem. So we'll do that on Monday.
طيب إن شاء الله. طيب الحمد لله. الدرس الثالث والعشرون. Last lesson we had started speaking about the numbers, and I broke it down in the following way, as you can see on the screen. We had said that the numbers can be generally broken down into four main categories. Yeah, the change of timing will be on Monday, from Monday, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And we said that we'll break it down into four main categories. 1, 2, these will go together. 3 to 10, 11 to 99, and then 100 and also 1000. Okay. And then we spoke about, so we broke down some of these numbers. We said that number one and number two, we said number one and number two, they were, where was it? We wrote it down. Kitabun wahidun, kitabani, ithnani. And we said that basically this, the combination of numbers for number one and number two, it was a relationship of na'at and man'ut. Na'at and man'ut, where the ma'dud will come first, followed by the adad, since the adad is the man'ut, it's describing the object that's being counted. Also, since it's na'at and man'ut, then the gender will match. Since kitabun is mudhakkar, then the number wahidun will also be mudhakkar. Kitabani is mudhakkar, it's still mudhakkar, it's just in dual form. So ithnani is going to be the na'at of it. And we also said that even if you didn't say ithnani, it wouldn't matter, because the alif and noon, can you see my mouse arrow? Is it displaying? Because the alif and noon on kitabani, this reflects dual anyway. Kitabani means two books. So is the arrow showing? Yeah? Can someone just confirm that?
Yes, yeah, we can
Yes,
see.
barakallahu feek.
Yeah,
And
I
then
can see
same
it
for
as well.
mu'annath. Same for mu'annath. You have madrasatun or mudarrisatun, whichever one, and wahidatun. Na'at, obviously the gender is going to follow suit. And if you said madrasatani, two schools, or mudarrisatani, depending on the context and whichever what you were saying, you would say ithnatani. The ta appears to match the gender. Again, na'at and man'ud, so the number comes after, the adad comes after the man'ud. The relationship, however, between the numbers 3 and 10 is one of mudaf and mudafun ilayhi. Mudafun wa mudafun ilayhi. So for that reason, the adad comes first, and it becomes the um, eh, it becomes the mudaf. Afwan Ilyas, just give me a second. I'll give you the mic, inshallah, since here. Barakallahu feek. طيب. So the al-adad over here becomes mudaf. The ma'dud becomes mudafun ilayhi. Then you will see the rules of mudaf, they're all in play. There's no alif or lam, and there's only one dhamma. And if there was a harf al-jar before it, for example, this would be kasra. ذهبت إلى أربع مدرسات. ذهبت إلى أربع مدرسات. I went to 4 teachers. Okay, or it could be مفعول به منصوب. رأيت أربع مدرسات. رأيت أربع سيارات. You could say that. رأيت أربع سيارات. Okay, and you'll notice that the gender between the numbers 3 to 10, the adad is opposite to the ma'dud. So depending on the ma'dud's gender, the number, the adad will be opposite. Sayyarat, the singular form is sayyaratun. Do you say hada sayyaratun or hadihi sayyaratun in the singular form? You're going to say hadihi definitely. Hadihi sayyaratun. So for that reason, this is, you know that this is mu'annath. You know that this is mu'annath. If it's mu'annath, then the adad will be mudhakkar. When it comes to the word aqlam, which is the jam' of qalam, in the singular form, do you say hadha qalamun or hadhihi qalamun? Taban, of course, you say hadha qalamun. You know that from ad-dars al-awwal at kitab al-awwal, book 1, lesson 1. So since you know that that is a mudhakkar because the ism ishara hadha is for mudhakkar, then the adad is going to be mu'annath because between the numbers 3 and 10, the gender of the adad is opposite to the ma'dud. The gender of the adad is opposite to that of the ma'dud. The ma'dud is mu'annath, the adad is mudhakkar. The ma'dud is mudhakkar and the adad is mu'annath. Jayid. So 2 things we've picked up. So again, we've revised. Between 3 and 10 is mudafun ilayhi, and the genders are opposite each other. They don't match. They don't match. The third thing to mention is that the ma'dud will always be in the plural form. Will always be in the plural form. And then we went to this big subject of 11 to 99. And 11 to 99, it breaks down into 4 different areas, 4 different scopes. And 12 needs to be discussed separately. And 13 to 19 should be discussed separately. And number 11, we discovered it's playing a role on both of these sides. So sometimes it's with number 12, and sometimes it's with, in some cases, in certain aspects, it's the same as 12, because, okay, in certain aspects, it goes with number 12 because the gender matches the ma'dud, the adad matches the ma'dud in both parts of the number, ithna ashara, ahada ashara, and ithnata ashrata, ihda ashrata, that's mu'annath. If the ma'dud is mu'annath, then the adad, both sides of the adad, both parts, al-juz'an, are going to be, they're going to match the gender. Mu'annath will go with, both of these will become mu'annath. If the ma'dud was mudhakkar, however, then both parts of 11 and 12, they will both be mudhakkar. How does 11 differ from 12? Well, the first part of 12 is not mabni. It can be ithna in the case of marfu', and it can be ithnay if it's majroor or mansub. And that's not the case with 11. 11 is mabniyun ala fathil juz'ain. Both sides of the number for number 11 are mabniyun ala al-fatha. The same as 13 to 19. 13 عشرة 14 عشرة 15 عشرة. مبني على فتح الجزئين. Um, so 11 is different from 13 to 19 in that 13 to 19, الجزء الأول, the first part of the number, it differs from the ma'dud. The gender is opposite. So ثلاثة عشر طالبا, 13 students. ثلاثة عشر طالبا. عشرة, this is مذكر, and the ma'dud is also مذكر. ثلاثة عشر طالبا. I think we had some examples on the next page. It was over here. Yeah, we had the example of كتابا. ثلاثة عشر كتابا. أربعة عشر كتابا. So عشرة is مذكر, it's going to match. But the first part is opposite, مؤنث. ثلاثة. Okay. If the ma'dud was mu'annath, for example, here you have darajatan, then the second part of the number will match. Ashrata. But the first part is opposite. Arba'a ashrata darajatan. Okay. So this is how 11, it differs with 13 to 19 in that 11 matches the gender on both sides of its number. It's like 12. It's with 12 in that case. But it's with 13 to 19 in terms of being mabniyun ala fath al-juz'ain. It's not with 13 to 19 in that the first part of the two numbers, in between 13 to 19, the first part of the two numbers, it is opposite to the ma'dud. The gender is opposite to the ma'dud. And then we looked at those examples. And then we spoke about the i'rab of number 12. Ithna ashara and ithnay ashara and ithnatay ashrata. Jayid? So that's basically where we got to. So now let's go back to this page over here and open up a fresh whiteboard to have a quick discussion with those numbers. So reference examples, just give me ma'dud and tamyiz. So ma'dud and tamyiz are not the same thing, but tamyiz is it's a form of the number, which you're going to see right now, inshallah. So go ahead, Ustad Muzammil, and tell me what you mean by reference examples, inshallah, and let's see if we can get that going.
Yeah, so I think it was just like sometimes when we remember an example, then we are able to recall the qawaid easily, especially because there are so many different categories. So some examples we just remember because of maybe Quran, it is regularly repeated in the the salah, etc. So then if we recall the example, then to rebuild the qawaid becomes easier, So
I see. Yeah, I mean that can be the case sometimes. Other times it works for some, not for others. But yeah, I do see what you're saying. And definitely, for example, 11, like in Surah Yusuf, that's the clear example, the one that you gave also in the chat. Inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaban. Yeah. Ahada. That's the ayah where Allah Ta'ala said that Yusuf alayhi salam said, Inni ra'aytu ahada ashara كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين أحد عشر. We don't have an example for every single number. But we had the general example. In any case, the numbers, all of the numbers in Dars al-Thalith wal-Ashrun, the examples, there is like an example sentence being given. Well, what I was hoping to do before going back to that lesson, because I realized when we had the first part of lesson 23, we were just reading through those numbers, and there's lots of rules that we should kind of like consolidate them in one place before reading the examples again. Hopefully, when we read over the lesson, we will be able to pick out some, let's say, key reference point examples
Mhm.
for them. Jazakallah khairan. Okay, so um, here you can see my whiteboard here. Um, we were talking about al-adad last time, and I said that we will talk about number 1 and number 2 separately. Then we'll talk about number 3 to 10 separately, and then we will speak from about number 11 to 99 separately. After that, I've one that's gone a bit wild, that number 9. And then after that, we'll speak about mi'ah, and then comma, alf. See that sign there? It's a comma in Arabic. It's upside down comma. And what I was writing last time was wow, and I saw that that may cause confusion. So better to have a comma. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead, Akhil Karim. Was there something you wanted to say, Akhil? No problem. طيب. So um, we already spoke about 1 and 2, and we said that this is the relationship is na'at and na'atun wa man'ut. 3 to 10, we said the relationship is mudafun wa mudafun ilayhi. 11 to 99, what did we say it was? Tamyiz. And mabniyun ala fathil juz'ain. Except, oh, in actual fact, we haven't finished 11 to 99. But yeah, the ma'dood is okay. So here we have the relationship between 1 and 2 is na'at man'ud. The relationship between 3 and 10, this is mudafun ilayhi. And when it comes to 11 to 99, the relationship became uh, between those numbers, it became one of adad and the ma'dud, and the adad was tamyiz, exactly. The adad is the adad becomes tamyiz. The tamyiz, we said, go ahead, Akhi Abu Bakr, afwan. Abbas tahuran, inshallah. And the adad is going to be mufrad, nakira, and mansoob. That is tamyiz, mufrad, nakira, and mansoob. As in the example of the Quran, kawkaban. So
Ustad, is it adad or madud?
the adad is going to be tamyiz, right? The adad is tamyiz. كوكبا جزاك الله خيرا أحسنت معدود. The معدود is تمييز. The معدود, yeah. So between 11 and 99 أحسنت أخي عادل جزاك الله خيرا. So between 11 and 99
وإياك.
the relationship between عدد and معدود is that the عدد is in one of, let's say, 3 or 4 categories, which was the 12, 11, 12, and then 13 to 99, and also the tens, al-uqud, 13 to 19, I wanted to say, 13 to 19, and then the uqud, 20, comma, 30, comma, 40, comma, and then also we have, as an extension of that, was the numbers in between, 21, 22, 33, for example. 34. This added, each of them have their own rules. In the case of 13 to 19, it's mabniyun ala fathil juz'ain. In 12, only the second part is mabniyun. Okay. And the uqud, we'll be speaking about them today, 20, 30, 40. This is jam' mudhakkar salim, 20, 30. And the ma'dood is tamyiz. And tamyiz, what does it mean? Number, the thing that's being counted, the ma'dood is mufrad, it's nakira. Yes. Nakira and also mansub. Example, kawkaban, taliban, bakaratan. Okay, when it's ma'dood. And between 100, this one here, 100 and 1000, the relationship becomes mudaf and ilayhi again. We'll be looking at that today, inshallah, as well. Okay. When it comes to the ma'dood, in the case of 1 to 10, the ma'dood is going to follow the same pattern as the adad. Okay, so it's mithl al-adad. Mithl al-adad. What does this mean? The ma'dood, al-ma'dood, is the same as the number, meaning the number said wahidun, so the ma'dood is also going to be in singular form. Okay, that's what we could say. I decided earlier that I was going to say over here, mufrad, the adad, we're talking about the ma'dood now, okay? Mufrad or muthanna. So for number 1, the ma'dood is going to be in the mufrad form. For number 2, the ma'dood is going to be in the muthanna form. From 3 to 10 is going to be, what is the ma'dood going to be?
Jama.
Jama. Okay. From 11 to 99 is going to be tamyiz. Tamyiz means mufrad, nakira, mansub. So you will say between 11 and 99, the ma'dood is going to be mufrad. Okay? But because it's tamyiz, that mufrad is going to be mansub. When you come to 100 and 1000, the ma'dood is going to be mufrad. But it's mudafun ilayhi. So what's the difference between the mufrad? Here's a question for you all to think about and to answer. In number 1, I said the ma'dood is mufrad. From 11 to 99, the ma'dood is mufrad. 100, also 1000, the ma'dood is mufrad. So we know that the ma'dood is mufrad in these cases. So that's how they are similar. But how are they different? These are all mufrad. So they are similar, they're all mufrad. But how are they different in each case? In the case of 1, in the case of 11 to 99, and in the case of 100 and 1000. So they say, someone said i'rab is different. Someone said the vowel ending is different. Someone said tamyiz. Jayyid. So what you will say is, Can anyone give me any other answers? Any other contributions? How are they different?
First one is marfu, second one is mansub, and third one is majroor.
MashaAllah. That's interesting. Did you say the first one is what? Sorry?
Marfu.
Marfu'. I don't think we're going to fix the first one as marfu' because if it came with a harful jar, it may become majroor or mansoob, right?
Yes, sir. I said in the general form.
In general form, yeah, exactly, yeah. Go ahead, somebody else.
First one is manut, and second one is mudaf ilayh, and third one is second one is tamiz, and third one is mudaf ilayh.
Barakallahu feek. Ahsanallahu ilaykum. So, in the first case, it's the relation because of na'at and man'ut, the number, even though it's mufrad, is going to follow the case of it's going to follow the pattern of the adad. So it's going to be marfu, majroor, or mansoob depending on the adad. In the case of 11 to 99, it's tamyiz, so it's going to be mansoob always. Kitaban, baqaratan, sayyaratan. And in the case of 1000 and 100 also, it's going to be mudafun ilayhi, so it's going to be majroor. Mudafun ilayhi majroor. So this is some type of a summary that I wanted to give you of those numbers, but we haven't finished looking at this area, which we'll look at right now, inshallah, and hopefully then we'll have time to go into the text. Let me get a color that will show some differentiation. Maybe this pink might show us. So we're going to be looking right now at these numbers over here. Okay. So previously I said that we have 11 to 99. And 11 to 99, oh, I see, I'm looking at the previous table. This is how I did it, exactly, yeah. We didn't say 11 to 99, we said the third category was the uqud, the tens, 20, 30, 40, and the fourth category was the numbers in between. So just to follow the same pattern as last time, we said 3, these are the uqud, 20, 30, 40, okay? And these up till 90. These numbers, they are jam' al-mudhakkar al-salim. What does jam' mudhakkar salim means? It means you just add a waw and noon at the end of the number. So you'll say 20, 30, 40. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Sister, don't say thalathuna, that's thalathun with a tha, not with a sin, okay? And then you have khamsuna, khams, and then, so you're adding, you can notice that each of these numbers, they've just added waw and noon at the end, and this becomes jam' mudhakkar salim. So why is it significant in i'rab? Because as you have learnt, that if there was a harful jar before it, or if it was mansoob because of maf'ulun bihi, then this would become ishrina. Just like mudarrisuna and mudarrisina, muhandisuna and muhandisina. Thalathun will become thalathina. أربعون would become what? أربعين. And so on and so forth until you get to تسعون and تسعين. That's what we had to revise with regards to these numbers. And then we have the final thing to look at, which is the numbers in between, like 21, 22, let's say 37, 70, 76, all the numbers between 20 up to 99, which are in between, which are above 20. And what do we do with those numbers? Those, how do we deal with this extra amount? This extra amount here. What happens? Well, that number comes first. And then this one here, the uqud, 70, 30, 20, this becomes ma'tuf. So you'll say, for example, wahidun wa ishruna. Okay. For example, you might count children and you'll say, haula'i wahidun wa ishruna. These are 21, meaning 21 students, for example. Haula'i wahidun wa ishruna. These are 20. Here you have 21. This is marfu'. Wahidun is marfu' because of haula'i. There's nothing that's going to change it. Nothing here changing it to kasra and nothing changing it to fatha. So it's going to have dhamma. Because this has a dhamma and here you have waw of atf, then ishruna is also marfu'. But if you said ra'aytu, ra'aytu, and now you want to mention the number, now you're going to have a number which is mansub. So for example, 37, you say ra'aytu sab'atan wa, what's the next number going to be? Thala, what should it be?
C.
Thalathina. Why thalathina?
Mansuba.
Is it mansub? It is. Why is it mansub?
Absence of the moon.
مفعول به.
So, actually, ra'a is the fi'l. Damir is the fa'il. Sab'atun is maf'ulun bihi. And then you have this waw of atf. And thalathin is ma'tuf upon sab'a. So it's also maf'ulun bihi. Ma'tufun ala sab'a. So it takes the same ruling as sab'a. So you'll say this is also mansub. The alamat nasbihi al-ya. Jayyid. And what we want to mention over here, in the case of the al-uqud numbers, the mudhakkar, there's no difference between mudhakkar and mu'annath. You will say, for example, ishruna taliban, and you will also say ishruna talibatan. Don't forget, this is tamyiz. 20 students, whether they're boys or girls, there's no such thing as ashratuna or ishratuna or something like that. Ishruna is the same. Is that okay? But when it comes to this category here, this first number, it will take the gender. It will take the gender. And it will take the opposite gender, except for number 1 and 2. So the gender is the same for number 1 and 2. The gender matches. And 7, and from 3 all up till 9, the opposite gender. opposite gender. Example. 31, 32, 43, 54, 65, 77, 96. Okay. Let's take an example for both genders. Okay. Let's take an example for both genders. So we say 31, we'll say واحد وثلاثون طالبا. And for مؤنث you'll say إحدى وثلاثون طالبة. Okay, that's done. Look at number 32. You'll say اثنان وثلاثون مدرسا. And you will say اثنتان وثلاثون ومدرسة. So you can see that the gender has matched in the example of in those two. Let's move these numbers down now that we know how to. Doesn't seem to be working, does it? I want to stretch it, it moves. I want to move it, it stretches. طيب. Then you have 43. And now we come to the gender changes. 43, so we will say ثلاث وأربعون طالبا. ثلاثة No, that's wrong, right? There's a mistake there.
Yes, that's wrong.
Should be طالبة.
Or else ثلاثة.
Or ثلاثة, which we should start because we started already with the مذكر first. So we will say here ثلاثة وأربعون طالبا. So the معدود is طالبا is مذكر, and the first part of the عدد is مؤنث ثلاثة, and then ثلاث وأربعون طالبة. جيد. And then we can take one more example. Okay, so let's get rid of these numbers here because let's take one more example, 77, so that we can try to get to the book for 1 minute, inshallah, at least. And then we have here two genders. We'll say سبعة وسبعون. What's your ma'dud? 77 what?
طالبا.
كتابا.
Let's say kitaban maybe. And we do know that class sizes are increasing these days, so it's possible to have 77 in one class. سبعة وسبعون كتابا and سبع وسبعون
سيارة.
سيارة. If it's basically, if you go into a car showroom, they may have 77 cars in the showroom. سبع وسبعون سيارة. And that basically is the number story. Many twists and turns to this story, as you have seen. Khairan, inshallah. We will now quickly go because the adhan has gone in Jeddah.
Ustad, can you just show the page 2?
Where is it gone?
Page 2.
Page 2. How does it show? It's not showing for some reason. There you go. This one.
Yeah.
Something you want to ask?
I know, I'm just trying to take a screenshot. Just give me a second.
Most complicated lesson.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.
I think I complicated it more.
Of course, a small mistake, a slip of tongue is enough to confuse us. That's why.
Well, you're right. You're right. I felt, when I make those slips of the tongue, I actually feel sorry for you guys. I'm thinking, oh no,
It's
I've gone
okay.
all this way, and then finally you say something, and it just throws the mind in a different dimension. Khairan, inshallah. Hopefully,
Jazakallah khair.
by going back to the book, it will finally make sense, and that was the idea. Share screen. We don't have much time, but I do want to try to get a quick look at the book. Idhnillah. Yeah, here it is. Okay. And we read all this stuff before. We can see now. Talibun wahidun, talibatun wahidatun. The gender matches for both. This is what the author is showing us over here. The gender is matching for both. And yeah, go ahead, everyone. Please have a look at Ustad Muzammir's message, and then he would ask you to stay behind for a minute at the end. Between 3 and 10, the gender doesn't match, and you'll notice that the ma'dud is plural and it's mudafun ilayhi. When you come to these numbers, 11 and 12, the gender matches on both. So it's a gender match on both. But أحد عشرة is مبني على فتح الجزئين, and إثنى عشرة is only مبني in the الجزء الثاني. When you come to 13, down all the way down to 19, then the gender of the first part is opposite. Why there is thamani feminine? Thamani feminine. ثمانية طلاب ثماني طالبات. That's okay. ثمانية عشرة and ثمانية عشرة. There's no problem there, sister, with ثماني. طيب, and then you've got this one عشرون. For مذكر and مؤنث, the numbers stay the same. Again, it's tamyiz. But when you come here, you say واحد وعشرون طالبا إحدى وعشرون طالبة. The gender matches for these two. The gender matches for these two. And the rest, the gender becomes opposite. ثلاثة وعشرون طالبا. ثلاث وعشرون طالبة. The opposite gender. Okay. Then you got ثلاثون, أربعون. It's the same. No change in the number for changing gender. But when you come all the way to مئة, then it becomes مضاف مضاف إليه. And the معدود becomes مفرد. طيب. And after that, from the 100s, then you have ma'atuf happening. What? I think by reading that, inshallah, we'll have no choice but to read this next lesson, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and close 23, close this chapter of the numbers, inshallah, next class, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and move on to ad-dars al-khamis al-ashrun, the dars after that, inshallah. طيب, barakallahu feekum wa jazakum khair for your patience. Afwan, not a very interactive class because the numbers, that is the nature of the numbers, just need to get them across and mention the rules, try to create some type of a pattern or a group, and bi'idhnillah, with practice, you will see. And also, as Ustad Muzammil mentioned, by looking at the examples, particularly in the Quran, you will see many examples of numbers in the Quran. If I'm not mistaken, there was a homework of numbers, was there? Where we had to look for numbers in the Quran. Is that right, Ustad Muzammil? And there were brothers and sisters had brought various examples looking into the Quran for numbers. And you see those patterns and you will see which ones are mansoob, which ones the adad is, what the adad looks like. Is it mudaf ilayhi, or is it tamyiz, or is it na'at man'ud, ila akhirih. طيب,
Okay.
جزاكم الله خيرا. والله أعلم.
Inshallah.
وصلى اللهم وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خير.
حفظكم
جزاك الله خيرا.
Jazakallah khair, Ustad. Barakallah feekum. So, Ikhwan, I'll just take maybe 2 or 3 minutes. It is not necessary for everyone to attend, so those who need to leave, please feel free to leave. But essentially, I'm looking for some volunteers who are strong in the book 1, Madeenah book 1, and who can help us in marking some of the responses which we have, received.